One of the tests we all had to complete, nearing selection, was, for many soldiers I have met, their bête noire, their bane, their nemesis, their anathema, their living nightmare, milling. A milling ring is formed by the seated trainee group. An officer, and often two non-commissioned officers, observe as judges, sometimes from a raised platform. Trainees are paired by weight and size. Today they are issued with head guards, gum shields, and boxing gloves. In the 70s and early 80s, no such fripperies were in evidence. Well, just the gloves. In fact, sometimes soldiers had each other's left or right ankle bound together. The military in general seems a lot easier than it was back in the day. Usually each pair are told to punch each other's faces as furiously as possible for 1 minute. You must aim to dominate your opponent with straight punches to the head, then follow several minutes to the body, or vice versa. Unlike boxing, no technique, ducking, parrying, or other boxing moves are tolerated. The clock is paused if a trainee is knocked down, or if his nose is broken. Any blood is wiped away by staff, and the bout resumes. The first time I had engaged in milling, I was in basic training. I was paired against my sometime friend, Sean Brown. He was taller than me, by a little. He was 6'6", black, with knife wounds on his throat. His life had not been easy, and he had grown tough, and in fact, something of a bully. But we became friends, and we often got in trouble together. We were punished together for fighting other groups. We were Arnhem, and we hated Inkerman, or Le Cateau. After one such infringement, we were sent to meet the infamous Provost Sergeant in Woolwich Nick. The Provost Sergeant was a Scot called Frank Nelson. When we arrived to face punishment, he said, "Too slow. Get back to your block before I can phone your sergeant. Go!" We went through this performance about 5 times, until apparently we made it to the nick in time. We were forced to strip naked, and then forced to do bunny hops up and down the jail. A bunny hop forces you to squat on your toes, keeping hands on hips, and jump forward like a bunny. Even then, it was barely used. Somebody probably died, and later, I believe, it was banned completely due to the dangerous stress the activity put on one's heart. We were doing bunny hops one after the other length of the room, but when we were struggling, Frank made us stand and eyeballed us. "Is this a conspiracy? Brown, is this a conspiracy? You," he said to me, "are you a rabbit or a dog?" I had no idea what to say, so I shut up. So Frank called another long-term prisoner. "Fleetwood, is this a conspiracy?" At which point, he poked Fleetwood in the eye and said, "I want rabbits. Come on, you bunnies, let's go." Sean broke. He faked asthma and flopped onto the ground. I was close behind, flopping too. Some hours after the beasting we had, we were standing together outside the QMS to collect some kit, and the provost comes strolling past us, as cool as a cucumber, and from the corner of his mouth said, "If it's not the Bunny Hop Kings." Sean and I, we lived off that for a week. The drill pigs beasted us at times, calling us the black and white niggers, giving us crappy jobs to do together, but that's how it was. They had discovered in my background search that I had family in South Africa. We stuck it together. I became section leader for a while, until I laughed at one of them. But Sean never had the attitude for military life. I met him only once, after basic training, and he was already on his way back out to civilian life. after meeting an older woman who had bamboozled him. Shame. I'd like to say that I got in more punches, and it was even Stevens, but he was tough and hard. So I probably lost that fight, but I learned something valuable. During the end of 13 troop selection, where it really counted, those of us remaining were told to arrive after lunch at an old attic room, and the staff said, in leaving us, bring a towel. I knew what was to follow, but even a few soldiers and even older NCOs had no idea. When they realized we were going to be milling, the blood drained out of a few faces. It was priceless. Some people imagine that only Parachute P Company are assessed by milling, and these guys get fired up by the staff, shouted at, to get every drop of violence and aggression from the recruits. In my experience, nobody was fired up by staff. We were expected to have that in us already. We did not need to be shouted at or directed. We knew what was expected of us. I was paired against one of the more dangerously big trainees. He has been a friend for many years now, and is a great guy, with a lot of courage. But back then, we did not know each other. He was the veritable brick shithouse, massive shoulders, upper body, and had proven himself a smart cookie, a full screw, a corporal. But I had learned the secret of milling. Immediately you can rush the opponent and overwhelm him. But he was well able to face me physically, although I was taller. The other thing I had made is how important it is to keep one's head up, hands up, and punch straight. No haymakers. My opponent made the mistake of putting his head down, and I was able to control proceedings by raining punches on him. Throughout, the staff of any milling event is looking for aggression, and in fact, many units who use it in training put a lot of importance in milling. If someone turns away or ducks away from violence, his goose is probably cooked. This time, I was victoriously raw at the end. So with my aggression tested, I stood on parade with 22 other heroes.